Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
Little Hen says it's time to rock and roll.
All you people are so scared of me.
Come quietly or there will be trouble.
Man, that's just me.
I'm Batman.
This is Sparta!
There is a tiger in the bathroom!
I'm an excellent driver.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Pop quiz, hotshot.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
In the New York Herald, there is an account of the hanging of 3 men. They died for the murder of Sir Edmund William Godfrey, resident of Greenberry Hill, London. He was murdered by 3 vagrants whose motive was simple robbery. They were identified as Joseph Green, Stanley Berry, and Daniel Hill. Green, Berry, Hill.
Hello and welcome to this week's Slightly Strange Monday Movie Show. I'm your host Stuart and I'm also joined by Andy.
Hello and welcome.
Yeah, the reason why it's slightly strange is because there's been very little released on DVD. We've decided to cram both shows together. So coming up we have reviews of these cinema films.
We have a quick look from some good friends of ours about Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2. After which we'll then have the look at The Master, Paul Thomas Anderson's latest film, and the French movie Amour. After that, in the DVD section, we'll then have reviews of the few DVD reviews this week, including
2 animated films. Arthur Christmas finally gets a release on DVD, and Dr. Seuss's The Lorax. On top of that, we have a bit of movie news and the box office top 10 plus. We'll quickly go over the Blu-ray/DVD top 10, even though it's not very good, to be honest. As usual, if you're listening live, you can get us on the live chat as Booga and Bouncy Beehall, or We Are the Lollicost, are already in the live chat, so good evening to those two. Right, let's kick things off with the box office top 10. Number 10, Paranormal Activity 4.
Yeah, I mean, I still haven't seen this. I doubt I will, because I haven't seen the other 3, but from everything I understand, it's rubbish, isn't it?
Yeah, absolute rubbish, absolute garbage. I'm not going to give it any more airtime. At number 9, Rust and Bone.
Which is not rubbish. It's a very good French film. I will be counting it in my top 10 of the year, I think. It's a weird kind of romantic drama without the romance, as I've said before, which is strange to describe it, but that's kind of perfectly how it works. With great performances from Marion Cotillard, and it's a really good, although slightly exhausting film.
At number 8, the horrible, horrendous, really bad pile of crap that is The Messy Silent Hill Revelation 3D.
Which needs no further comments.
I think I've just described it there perfectly. At number 7, and you went me for The Sapphires.
Which I'm surprised at, because I didn't think it was going to make it into the top 10 from the mixed sort of reactions I've been hearing about it, some of which have been really good, but then a lot of it has been people who have gone, no, I'm not going to see it because it looks rubbish, because it apparently has one of the worst trailers in the world, and is about Chris O'Dowd teaching a group of women about singing and all, and it looks atrocious, but word has been good.
Yeah, number 6, Hotel Transylvania.
Adam Sandler's least annoying film of the last decade, and quite enjoyable, great for kids, appropriate for any age kid. I would even say take toddlers to see it if you've got a toddler and you don't mind at this point, because there won't be that many people watching it now. It's been out for that long, but enjoyable fun for both adult and kids.
Yeah, it's not too bad. At number 5, Taken 2.
Which is just hanging around like a really bad cold, and I really want to get something to kill it off. It's terrible. Yeah. It's awful. It's a horrible sequel. It's complete cash cow. And Liam Neeson is just... he's just in it for the money. He really is.
And number 4, and you went before Here Comes the Boom.
Which is not a bad film. And I don't know if anyone listening was listening to the Mark Commode show, where myself and a few others wrote in to actually let him know that he was wrong on the film and he was particularly harsh on it. I don't think it's a brilliant film. I think it's a fun film. I think it's Kevin James's maybe his best film that he's ever made, and I enjoyed it. It's not brilliant, but it was quite fun.
Yeah, and I just thought it was, apart from the last 10 minutes, it was a bit crap. At number 3, and you went me for Argo.
Best best movie that should be getting nomination in all the categories, as far as I'm concerned, next year at the Oscars. A brilliant directing turn from Ben Affleck, and great performance from him. And it's a extremely tense yet funny film, which is based on the most surreal, real-based story you'll ever hear.
Yeah, at number 2, Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted.
Best of the three films, the three Madagascar films, best animated, best story, best gags. Really, that's how best way to put it.
Yeah, very fun film, and there is a musical sequence that if you listen to it, it will be stuck in your brain forever. I'm not going to mention it.
Yeah, it's gonna. No, I don't want it back. Get it out of my head still.
Go on YouTube and you'll probably find it. It's all over the place. And at number 1, Skyfall,
which has now taken £72 million in the UK, has been the most successful UK 2D movie ever released, I believe, isn't it?
Yes, and it's now gone into be the second highest taking film of all time in the UK, just behind Avatar.
Yeah. And it's still got some legs in it because it's still at number 1, which means it's probably going to add another, what do you think, 20 million to that next week?
Maybe it's round about.
Oh, sorry, 10. It was 10 this week, so I think if it still manages to hang around there, at least a 10 again.
It's not going to be number 1 next week because early indications are showing that Twilight has taken around about 14.5 million. So, right, let's get on to a couple of quick pieces of movie news. The Hollywood Reporter have confirmed that Jane Goldman, who worked on the X-Men First Class and the Woman in Black script, will be doing a script reworking on Tim Burton's Pinocchio. The film will also see Robert Downey Jr. play Geppetto.
Okay, Tim Burton doing Pinocchio. I can see this being very warped.
Yeah, the way Tim Burton has been going as of late, it's not going to be very good if he follows the same kind of suit as he has been.
Well, it could be very sort of Edward Scissorhands-ish return to form for him if he does it. I mean, Edward Scissorhands is essentially Pinocchio, but with scissors for hands.
Yeah, okay then. And Paramount have announced that 9 minutes of the Star Trek sequel Into Darkness will be shown before IMAX screenings of The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey when the film comes out on the 14th of December. It's also just been revealed today that the first trailer for The Wolverine will also be shown just before the film.
I like IMAX. I'm probably not going to go and see The Hobbit in IMAX just because of the fact it's not particularly near for me to get to, and it won't be easy to get there and back and all, but it's kind of one of these things. I'm kind of glad I'm not going because I don't want to watch a 9-minute thing about the film before it comes out. I would just rather wait and see the film.
Yeah, same here. Just a standard trailer would be fine, not 9 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
A bit silly that.
In other news, Bridget Jones is set to make a return, so all the female audience's members that are absolutely loving Twilight this week have something else to look forward to. This time it'll be with a baby in tow. Author Helen Fielding will reportedly publish a third novel in 2013, and plans are already underway to make a movie based on it following the box office success of Bridget Jones and sequel Bridget Jones: The Edge of Reason. Renée Zellweger is reportedly already attached to star along with actors Colin Firth and Hugh Grant, but it's not yet known whether the movie will take the title of the book, which is reportedly going to be Bridget Jones's Baby.
No, move on. I'm not interested in Bridget Jones at all.
I kind of expected that would be the response. And the final piece of news this evening, rumours heating up regarding the Mission Impossible franchise and a possible next film. A director's name has been thrown around. Brad Bird won't be returning because of the fact that it seems Paramount want to continue the trend of having a new director take over each movie. If they do go ahead with Mission Impossible 5, then what will probably happen is one of the directors that they are really happy about at the moment is Christopher McQuarrie. He's been directing Tom Cruise's latest movie, Jack Reacher, that comes out this Christmas. McQuarrie's the writer behind Bryan Singer's hugely successful noir movie, The Usual Suspects, if you didn't recognise his name, after which he went on to write and direct a less successful but still cult classic, The Way of the Gun. It's not known whether Tom Cruise and J.J. Abrams would also produce, as they have the last 2 movies in the series.
Yeah, I was a fan of what Brad Bird did with the last film. Even though I did have problems with it, it's still a pretty enjoyable movie, and it's just also been revealed today that Brad Bird is not going to be directing the next Star the next Star Wars film, so
Yeah.
I wonder what he'll be up to next, Brad Bird. But it's
Yeah,
a pity that he's not going to do the next one, because he did do a good job with it.
I'm kind of glad they're not, because I do want to see them following this thing of having someone new. But Brad Bird, I think, is a great visual director. He's great at telling a story without having words. So, I mean, he could do something that's going to need a good balance of action, but also drama. I think he's good at that. He's proven he can.
Yep. Right, let's go to a break, and after the break we have a review of Twilight, but we're not doing it.
Right, advert. What do I need to say in an advert? Well, I need to say that we're the Gamescast. I need to say that we're on Twitter at the Gamescast. I need to say we're on Facebook. I need to say we've got a website, thegamescast.com, and I need to say we're on YouTube. Oh yeah, and we're on this thing called Spreaker.com. Don't know where that came from. What else? That's probably it. Right, better record it. Oh, crap. That was 30 seconds. The Gamescast. Grown-up gamers talking about games. Allegedly.
Right, welcome back. Now, there is a certain little film that's out this week called Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2. And even though Andy reviewed the last Twilight film, there is no chance in hell that either one of us was going to subject ourselves to sitting in a cinema screen for nearly 2 hours with lots of Twihard fans around us screaming like hell.
Is Twihard actually a thing?
Yeah, they're called Twihards. So what we've gone and done is a friend of the show, Bouncy Beehall, who does the Lollicost and Yellow Coals, or the Banter Snatch at the moment, because Lollicost and Yellow Coals is on a bit of a break. He's managed to get his wife to record a review for us, so I'm going to play that now.
Bouncy Ball here, sitting in the Lollicost bath, and I've got the wife with me. Hello, wife.
Hello.
So my wife, she went out the other night at midnight in her Jimmy Jams and her big fluffy socks with her friend, and you went to see a film. What film did you go see?
Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2.
And this is the one directed by Bill Condon, who obviously any fans of the Monday Movie Show will know as the screenwriter for FX2, The Deadly Art of Illusion, with Brian Brown and Brian Dennehy.
If you say so.
So, Breaking Dawn Part 2, is this a direct follow-on from Breaking Dawn Part 1?
It's a complete follow-on from the first one.
Right, and just... if you could sum it up in 5 words, and none of the words be the word fantastic or ooh, how would you describe Breaking Dawn Part 2?
Oh my God, Mr. Cullen.
That's a statement, not a summary of facts, but I think that's very telling. So, just for the listeners at home, just give a rough breakdown of the plot of Breaking Dawn Part 2. No, you don't want to do that? Doesn't want to do that? Okay, well, as you may remember, Bella and Edward got married, got it on, and she got pregnant with a possible nightmare of a baby, aren't they all? And in the end, while, if I remember, she was having her back broken, and she was being killed from the inside by the baby, and so she took a decision to force Edward to turn her into one of the undead, giving her some lovely red eyes things, and a Volturi finding out that the baby exists and wanting to go to war.
That's correct.
They don't say I don't do my research. So, they're going to war. Obviously, leader of Volturi is good old Michael Sheen. Everybody loves Michael Sheen. And it's building up to a big battle on a snowfield. Am I correct there?
You are.
What is it, Alice?
The Volturi. They're coming for us.
So, you're obviously a fan, and I'm going to now put you on the spot and say there must be at least 2 things you don't like about the film.
CGI baby is a bit naff, really, and Jacob's striptease, completely unnecessary. Who wants to see his body in?
So with the CGI creepy baby thing, is it any worse than a dancing baby from Ally McBeal?
Yeah, massively.
Does it come out and then go, ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka?
No, but it does have creepy fingers.
Well, there you go. Nobody likes a baby with creepy fingers. They say Jacob does a striptease. Is it any worse than Demi Moore in Striptease with Burt Reynolds?
If you're Team Jacob, then no. But for me, yeah.
So it's basically Taylor Lautner just taking his clothes off. Is there any plot point that requires him to take his clothes off? Or is it just a case of, here's an excuse to get somebody to take their clothes off?
It's as he reveals to Charlie that he's a werewolf, he decides to do a striptease.
So he couldn't just change into a wolf with his clothes on like every other Wolfman movie there's ever been?
I guess not.
Is it because he's poor and he can't afford to replace his clothes?
That's clearly not true from the other films.
Okay, so gratuitous stripping and creepy fingered babies. And well, then a highlight. I'll let you give a highlight. So go on, one highlight, but only one.
Probably Belle's montage of hers and Edward's relationship throughout the whole of the series of films.
So is this like in her mind, or is it a proper montage like the 80s, like a Rocky training montage, like building up to a fight, or is it just like a romantic lovey-dovey thing?
She develops her skill, and therefore it becomes a lovey-dovey thing.
Right. Is it got backing music from Angry Anderson, who did the Sunday song for Scott and Charlene's wedding in Neighbours?
No.
You should have. That would have been brilliant. Go on. I'll let you have one more. You've had your thing. Have one more.
Probably the twist at the end, which I nearly walked out on because I didn't realise it was a twist, but actually it was really good.
This is the bit where they actually changed the plot from the book, and some people in America screamed and ran out of the theatres because they didn't like it. Without being too spoilery, there is a big twist in the film. Well, anyway, I want to know more about this fight scene in the snow. Is the fight scene in the snow the one with all the decapitations and fighting and stuff? So yeah, tell me about decapitations and fighting and stuff.
There are many types of decapitation, ranging from all the characters. I can't say too much because it gives away the actual plot twist thing.
Just some people not quite have their heads ripped off and they just like flop around in the wind.
They might have their head ripped off, but they might not actually be dead.
I don't care about spoilers, so I'm just going to spoil it all. The whole thing's and they all decide. Is that right?
Yeah.
So there you go. So that's my wife, Mrs. Bouncy Ball, and she's going to give me now a score out of 10 on her fingers for how much she gives Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2. That's a full 8 fingers out of 8. That's good. Or was it 8 out of 10? 8 out of 8. Yeah, she didn't put a thumbs up. She's a clever one, is my wife. So there we go, people in Monday Movie Show land. If you're a fan of the series, it's probably the best ending they could have given. Yeah. And for anybody that's not a fan of the series, rejoice, because it's the last one in the series, and now you've just got the host to look forward to.
Try taking a seat, crossing your legs.
Maybe a tad slower. And blink at least 3 times a minute. Good.
For a cartoon character.
Hold your breath. It'll help with the thirst.
Just don't forget to move your shoulders so it looks like you're breathing.
And don't sit so straight. Humans don't do that.
Okay, I got it. Move around, blink, slouch.
So thank you very much, Bouncy and Nicola, for doing that for us, because we didn't want to sit through the Twilight film, and unfortunately, when it comes out on Blu-ray and DVD, Andy will be subjecting himself to it.
Well, I don't mind watching it when it does come out, because I've watched all the others, so I'll be glad to see the end of it at least.
It's just that you don't want to be that creepy person who's sitting on his own watching it at the cinema.
No, that's just, I don't want to be subjected to that. Though, mentioning, as Bouncy did mention there, The Host, which is the other one based on a book by Stephanie Meyer, which does look fairly interesting, because the new trailer of that came out this week, so check that out if you're online.
Yeah, okay, then we have 2 films to get to review, so Andy, take it away.
Let's go with The Master first. The Master. Directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. As usual, he's also written it. It's a kind of a weird drama about a character called Freddie Quell, who is played by Joaquin Phoenix. I don't know, Joaquin. I always say his name wrong. Why do I have this problem with names? He plays a guy named Freddie Quell, who is essentially been released from wartime after World War II as a Navy seaman. He returns back to normal life, but finds it difficult adjusting. He's an alcoholic, so much to the extreme that he makes his own concoctions, including things like paint thinner and such, like other things like that. He struggles to find work anywhere, or when he does, because someone drinks all of his drink that he makes, they accidentally die because of it. So he's sort of kicked out of a workplace where he's at there, because it's a sort of the workers all sort of kick him out. He's wandering around when he then finds his way onto a yacht. He just sort of stumbles onto it when there's a party on board, and then wakes up the next morning to find where he's then talking with this character who is played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, who plays the sort of the leader of a group called I forgot the name of it now, but he's the leader of a group. The guy's named Lancaster Dodd, who is kind of leading these people as they are sort of embarking on this way of sort of trying to improve humanity and return people back to the way that they were and the way that they should be. You know, by doing so, they actually use a sort of a kind of what's called the process, which is they process people similarly to how hypnosis works, taking them back to a memory of either a past event in their current life or potentially something that happened in a previous life, to try and see what it is that ails them from that previous experience that causes them to have problems. The whole thing is that then the two of them become good friends because of the fact of the Dodd finds Quell to be rather interesting, and as a man who's trying to write and writes a book and such, he finds him really intriguing and really inspires him to be a great writer. So he takes him into the flock of the group and sort of takes him on as his protege, and also tries to help him with his issues. Now, the thing with it being a Paul Thomas Anderson film, you don't really know with a Paul Thomas Anderson film what you're going to get, other than that it's going to involve a great degree of drama. The performances in it are fantastic, and especially Joaquin Phoenix, but even more so Philip Seymour Hoffman. Now, there was no clips available I could find that really had Philip Seymour Hoffman in them, but this clip of Joaquin Phoenix shows you what it's like. Let's play it.
You've had violent episodes.
Yes, sir, we all did.
You pulled a knife to the throat of an officer.
Will you box that out?
How would you yourself rank your overall health?
Strong.
What about this last episode on the way home?
What episode, sir?
The episode you had on the way home here.
I don't remember an episode.
You have no memory of what happened?
We were celebrating. We were drinking and dancing. I don't remember an episode. Was there a fight? What happened?
Let's just see if we can't help you remember what happened.
Okay.
So here's the thing with The Master. It has no plot. I'm not kidding. There really is no plot to it. It's just a scene after scene strung together by very loosely tied together with the thinnest piece of thread, with these group which are called the Cause. As they travel from place to place because of the fact of that they don't really have anything their own. They are essentially living off of people as they move around. The character of Lancaster Dodd is based on Ron L. Hubbard, who is the guy who sort of the founder of the sort of the cult religion Scientology. And the thing is that the great performances of these two men, especially when they're together, are really great. But up to that point, the first 20 minutes or so of the film, I was bored. I wondered what was going on. I wondered why everyone was saying it's brilliant and giving it 5-star reviews. Then that bit got brilliant. I thought, this is what's happening. And then for the last hour and 20 minutes, I was bored out of my mind. The only thing I can say that positive about this, I don't know if it's intentional, it's like when you've been in a cult and then you get to the end of the film and you're so disillusioned with the end of it, you realise that the cult was terrible, you were in a cult, and you want to get out. And that's what it was like at the end of the cinema. It's not really a film. It's just a 2.5-hour acting lesson, which is a shame, because Paul Thomas Anderson can write some really good things. He just hasn't here.
Okay. You have one more film to review. You better quickly get it done.
Yeah, Amour, or Love, as it is translated from French. The film is also written and directed by the same man, Michael Haneke, who is Haneke. Don't. Why do I get these names? I don't know. It stars Jean-Louis Trintignant, And Emmanuel Riva as George and Anne, an elderly married couple who suffer a tragedy when Anne has a stroke, which then leaves her paralysed down one side of her body. The two of them live in this sort of a small apartment, and the whole thing is about love, or how he loves her and how his devotion to her means that he will take care of her and essentially devote his entire life to taking care of her, even though she doesn't really want him to. But she makes him make a promise to her that he will not let her go into a home, because of the fact of that early on she spends the early moments in a hospital, finds it terrifying, and then it's basically the whole film is about the two of them and long scenes that are shot of him doing everything for her, cutting up her meals for her so she can eat them, carrying her and helping her into bed and moving her around into chairs and such. It's a thing that if you know someone who is in sort of a similar situation, with being sort of wheelchair bound or anything like that, it's it resonates quite well, quite strongly with that kind of a thing. But it's a very well written, very well directed, very slow paced. It is a bit exhausting to watch. It could have done with a little bit of trimming, because it's just over 2 hours long, and there are scenes, as I said, where it's shot very long shots, and you're wondering really why it hasn't cut away to something else. But really, it is a very good film. It's just that I know a lot of people will see it and they'll be like, "What are you talking about? It's boring as hell." Because it's all about the whole thing of love and devotion and what this man does in order to basically deal with his wife's situation. And it's a very good drama. It's very exhausting, and there is an issue when you get to the end of it of something that happens, and it's kind of, oh wow, and I don't want to say anything more than that, but it's the whole thing is a really good drama, but you need to be prepared for it.
Right, this is where we would probably end the cinema section and start a new show for the DVD and Blu-rays, but because there's only a few Blu-ray and DVD out, let's go straight into the Blu-ray and DVD top 10.
Yeah, so at number 10 we have a jumping up slightly, Ice Age: A Mammoth Christmas.
It's just been quickly thrown out at the Tesco's for, actually this one's Sainsbury's, 20 minutes at the till, £5, kids are happy. That's why it's in the top 10.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like, but it's probably the cover, it looks like it's got Scrat on it, so I mean that's kind of what it'll be. 20 minutes of Scrat. I mean, that's probably better than some of the films. Number 9, surprisingly re-entering up from 71, The Polar Express.
Yeah, beautiful animation, really nicely done, but a lot of people see this animation as a bit soulless. Like it tries to be very more like photorealistic, like humans. I'm losing my voice there, but Andy finds it really soulless. I find it it can be a bit creepy. It's a decent enough film, and I'm surprised that it's gone into the top 10.
Number 8, the first of many stand-up comedy DVDs with Kevin Bridges. The Story Continues.
Not a fan of Kevin Bridges. Don't expect to watch it.
I know that a lot of people will quite like him, and so I'm not surprised he's in there at number 8. At number 7, still hanging around after 13 weeks, gone just up a couple of places, is The Avengers Assemble.
That's because Andy was telling me that Player.com is selling it pretty cheap at the moment, so it's gone in the top 10 because of that. Staying there because of that.
And now we go into the real sort of mess of movies in here, or not movies. John Bishop Live, Roller Coaster Tour at 6.
Again, not a fan of John Bishop.
Mrs. Brown Boys Series 2 at 5.
Please stop buying it. Please stop watching the TV series, so then it will not be made anymore.
Though I'd rather they bought that than what's at number 4, which is Santa Paws 2, The Santa Pups.
Yeah, why? It's just Disney doing their typical throw something onto DVD because they got the license for it.
We have another actual film at number 3 with Men in Black 3.
Which is, it's not too bad, but it's nothing special at all. The best thing about the film is Josh Brolin as Agent K. I think it's K who plays Tommy Lee Jones's character, a younger version of him anyway. Will Smith is just plodding along on the film. The film itself it's lost its ground, the Men in Black series.
Michael McIntyre, Showtime, is at number 2, and I can't stand him.
I like him a lot. I find him really funny. I've seen him live 3 times, so I intend to watch this.
And number 1 is, unfortunately, Mrs. Brown's live tour, Good Morning. Spelled
Why?
MOUR.
Why? Just why? Why?
Yeah.
Why are people going to see it? Why are people watching it? Why are people buying this crap?
Why are we discussing it and giving it any more time? Let's go on to our first DVD review of our only 2 reviews this week.
Yeah, just before we do that, Dalek said in the live chat, I saw Mrs. Brown's Boys in Blockbusters yesterday and thought of you guys. Now I really hate you, Dalek.
I don't care as long as you don't buy it for me. If you buy it for me and you send it to me, it will be getting put in like a blender or something.
Yeah. So, first review, 2 animated films, and because it's coming up to Christmas, Arthur Christmas. It's directed by Sarah Smith and Barry Cook, and now I'm going to get the Mickey taken out of me because I said Cook. It's the way I just speak. Yeah.
No, I can be an adult.
Well, not from you, from other people.
Oh, fine.
Yeah. The film itself, at the start of the film, it centres around a little girl who's posting her Christmas letter, and she wants a bike for Christmas. She's wrote a really nice letter to Santa. One of Santa's youngest son, Arthur, opens it up, voiced by James McAvoy. He reads the letter. The kid wants a bike. Now, all the Christmas presents are getting now stacked up for Santa Claus, which is voiced by Jim Broadbent. Onto this huge, massive ship, which is brought together by Santa Claus's older son, Steve, voiced by Hugh Laurie, and this is how the Christmas presents get around the country just before Christmas. Now, everything goes to plan. All the Christmas presents get delivered perfectly until one of the Christmas presents is discovered that it hasn't been delivered by an elf on the floor when she's busy cleaning it up. Arthur then decides to team up with his granddaddy, or Grand Santa, voiced by Bill Nighy, to take this Christmas present to her, to the little girl, because he doesn't want somebody to be the only person who hasn't received a present at Christmas. Here's a clip.
Margaret, hand me my me suit. All sorted. Steve's, holding the fort while I deliver the present, yes. And find Arthur and Father.
Well done, dear. Shall use on a course of 187.7 degrees from the geographic pole, but as it's the old sleigh, we should allow a drift margin of 1,000 miles either side of the Greenwich Meridian. I've got a sweater for Arthur, your father's pills, and some nice sweet tea.
As the film goes on, Steve, who's the oldest son, he doesn't think that Arthur. He thinks that Arthur's an imbecile. Everything that Arthur does, he's a klutz, and he actually is a klutz. But he has this kind of heart where he doesn't want to see anybody not having anything on Christmas, and he absolutely adores Christmas. Everything to do with Christmas he adores, even including these annoying slippers that he wears, which are reindeer slippers, but they make a lot of noise, and during the film there are a few instances where he ends up getting in a lot of trouble because of these slippers. The film itself is okayly animated. It's done by Aardman, and this is one of their first live action films rather than the claymations that they do with Wallace and Gromit and Chicken Run. And at times the animation seems a bit bare. There are scenes where the animation, it's just a bit of a basic animation, the kind of thing that you would see on a direct-to-DVD kind of animated film. But at other times, the animation is done really nicely. There is specifically a scene which involves the Aurora Borealis, and it's really nicely done. But straight after that, it leads into a bit where it's on the ocean, and it's a bit basic, and so the animation is okay. The film itself is fun. It's a typical sort of like Christmas movie where younger kids will absolutely love it because it is rated U. So there is nothing like graphic in the film at all, or nothing like too adulty. There is a couple of adult jokes which adults will get, but it's one of those movies where you don't mind putting your kids in front of it and you can go away for like an hour and a half and do whatever you want to do. It'll distract them for an hour and a half. It's just... It's not up there with what Aardman can do. Aardman is brilliant with their claymation stuff. Wallace and Gromit is genius. But it just falls into the safe category, and it just feels like a normal standard animated film rather than the Christmas animated film you would expect and the high quality that you would expect from Aardman. But like I said, it's decent enough. It passes 95, 97 minutes away. It does feel a bit long as well at times. It feels like it stretches itself too much. But it's a decent enough film. It's nothing special, but decent enough. Right.
So you got your final review of the evening. Let's go through that then.
Yeah, it's Dr. Seuss's The Lorax. This is not like the first time any of Dr. Seuss's stuff has been turned into films, whether it be live action or animated. Jim Carrey did The Grinch, and The Grinch Who Stole Christmas is probably Seuss's most famous work, and that's been turned into lots of animated stuff. So, The Lorax, it's directed by Chris Reno and Kylie Balder, sorry. And it centres around a city called Thneedville, which is this city which is walled off from everywhere because the main guy of the city, Mr. O'Hara, wants to control not just the oxygen in the city, which is the main thing that he controls, but everything, because everything is fake in the city. Now, it centres around Ted, which is voiced by Zac Efron, and he has a liking to a friend of his, Audrey, voiced by Taylor Swift, and she really does want to see a tree, a real tree. And so Ted decides to venture outside of the city to meet up with the Wonsler, because his grandma tells him that the Wonsler is probably the best person to tell him about this. And so he ventures outside of the city, he meets up with the Wonsler, voiced by Ed Helms, and the Wonsler goes over a story about how he was the one who caused all of the problems with the trees disappearing, and the fact that there was this mythical creature called the Lorax is the only thing that can help him. The Lorax, in this case, is voiced by Danny DeVito. Here's a clip.
Well, oh. Hey, where's your Thneed? You sell it?
Hey, yeah, no, didn't sell it. Turns out it's ahead of its time, I guess.
Hey, you gave me your best shot, right? What more can you do? Come on, take a seat. We'll deal you in.
What are we playing?
I'm playing poker. He's playing Go Fish. And I think he's hungry.
And so during the flashbacks, you find out why what the Wonsler did, how he betrayed the Lorax, and how outside of Thneedville it's gone all to pot, and how inside Thneedville the Mr. O'Hara is probably in full control and they need the Lorax's help. Now, the problem with the film is it's just not entertaining enough. It's pretty to look at, it's bright, and it's this typical thing where the side characters, like for instance in this case, lots of the animals and the fish and things like that, if you heard in the clip there about them playing Go Fish with the fish. And it's a movie where you can put your kids in front of and they can spend 90 minutes fine, and you can go off and do whatever you want. But it doesn't have the impact that you want it to have. The Lorax is only in the film for about 10 minutes maximum. And that's a bit stupid considering that it's supposedly based around the character of the Lorax. The film itself is called The Lorax, not Ted and the Lorax. It's just called The Lorax. And you want to push away Ted's character, and you want to see more of the Lorax, which is nicely animated, and like I said, the animation is nice, and the film itself, it flows decently enough for the hour and a half that it's on, but it's just average, it's nothing special.
So, that's it for this week's show. Thank you for joining us for the special short edition of the show this week. Before we go, shall we make a sort of announcement on movie of the week? Or I've got to guess which one yours will be.
I don't have one.
So, out of the best of the two of them, would you say that Lorax is the better one?
No, Arthur Christmas is the better one.
Arthur Christmas is the better one. For me, it's going to be a more. If you can get to it, if it's showing near you, because I know you wanted to see it as well, but you didn't have a chance.
Yeah, because I'm a Michael Haneke fan. His films are a bit strange. He did films like Funny Games and The White Ribbon, and I'm a bit of a fan of his, so I really wanted to see it. Yeah,
Amore is the movie of the week for me, but it's not the typical kind of movie of the week. It's not a brilliant movie, but it is a good movie. And it's far better than The Master. If you want to check out our website, the address is mondaymovieshow.co.uk. Feel free to. There are some reviews up there, including a more detailed review and look at The Master, as well as you can listen back episodes of the show through there. If you're listening to us live, as a few people have already, Bouncy, Dalek, thank you for joining us. If not, thank you likewise for listening to us on iTunes, YouTube, or SoundCloud. And if you want to get in touch with us, you can find us on Twitter at Monday Movie Show, or you can find me at AHDVD or Stuart at Cryptic Tadpole. We're also part of Following the Nerd. We kind of work with them. They'll be putting our show up every week as well. So check out followingthenerd.com and listen to them Thursday nights at 9. And we're also part of the podgodsnetwork.com. So feel free to check them out as well. Next week, we'll be back at our normal time of 7:30 for a full normal length show. So until then, thank you for listening. And I've been Andy.
And I'm not saying it. I hate it. You know I hate it. So.
I know you're going to do it one time. You did it once.
No, I'm not going to.
Well,
at least
I've
next...
been Andy. Well, you could just be mute then. I've been Andy, and he's been... Good night.
Person who's going to review decent films next week.
Well, you say that, but you haven't seen them yet.
Yeah, well, there are a decent lineup. We've got Ted, Brave, Amazing Spider-Man, Magic Mike, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, End of Watch, so it's a decent enough week.
Yeah, I guess so. We'll see.
Yep, bye.
Bye-bye.